Well, for more on China's nuclear program and breakthroughs, I'm joined via Skype by Jacopo Buongiorno. He's TEPCO Professor of Nuclear Science and Engineering. He's also the Director of the Center for Advanced Nuclear Energy Systems and the Director of Science and Technology at the Nuclear Reactor Laboratory, all at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, better known as MIT. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we know that China recently announced an ambitious goal to cut its carbon footprint to net zero by the year 2060. Now, meeting it will require a sweeping overhaul of the country's energy system. Explain that process.
Well, the process might look different in different countries, but in every country, if we're serious about decarbonizing the economy, every sector of the economy will have to be attacked, so to speak, in terms of decarbonization. So that means the electric grid, which is a relatively easy target, but also transportation, aircraft, cars, trucks, ships, as well as manufacturing industry, even agriculture, buildings, etc. And that's where an energy source like nuclear, which is low carbon and reliable, can help.
Now, part of that process will include nearly quadrupling its nuclear capacity from today's levels. What does that entail?
So China is already building nuclear power plants at a rate that is highest, or higher, I should say, than any other country in the world. However, to meet those ambitious goals, that rate will have to escalate further. That means the supply chain will have to be beefed up, so to speak, in China. The workforce will have to be, more workforce will have to be trained. The nuclear regulator will have to be strengthened to make sure that things are done safely and reliably. And last but not least, since this is a very long-term program, also the development of advanced nuclear technologies will have to be pursued aggressively.
So then what sort of infrastructure is needed to really help support this goal?
Well, as far as supply chain is concerned, you need basically companies to ramp up their capacity at factories where they can make components such as vessels, pipings, wires, pumps, all the equipment that is required to build new nuclear power plants. Most likely, there will be a need also for identifying new sites at which this new nuclear power plants will have to be built. And I already commented on the need, of course, for developing a bigger workforce, a larger cadre, let's say, of operators that will run these plants nationwide.
And we know that China's goal does set the country's decarbonization agenda apart from Europe and the US, where nuclear is a more contentious issue among environmentalists and even among politicians, despite being a major source of zero-carbon electricity. Talk about why other countries are, in some cases, turning away from nuclear.
So maybe let me start with my home country, the United States. Actually, the U.S. has still the largest fleet of nuclear power plants. It's exceptionally well run, but in many cases, these nuclear power plants are in merchant markets in which the prices of electricity are so low that nuclear plants are not profitable. In those cases, some of these plants will shut down. That most of the competition comes from extremely low cost natural gas that we have here in the U.S. However, I have to say that in the U.S. there is very strong political support in Congress, and interestingly, it's bipartisan from both the Republican and Democratic side for nuclear to play a big role in the midterm and the longer term, particularly with advanced nuclear technologies. Now, moving away from the U.S. and into Europe, there are a couple of countries that most likely will phase out their nuclear power plants. Germany and Belgium come to mind. Perhaps Switzerland. There are many other countries in Europe, such as the UK, Finland, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Sweden, France, Bulgaria, Romania, that remain well committed to nuclear. And worldwide, there are countries that are either expanding their existing nuclear program, like India and Russia, and there are many newcomers: the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, Egypt, Bangladesh, Argentina, just to name a few. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag, as you would imagine. Some countries it's going to grow, in other countries it's going to stay steady, and yet other countries it's going to decline.
Now, obviously, beyond its climate benefits, nuclear is also a useful tool for a variety of China's economic goals. Please detail those for us.
Well, first and foremost, I would say energy diversification is a good thing. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, whether it's renewables or fossil fuels or even nuclear. You want to have a diverse portfolio of energy sources that allow you to sort of weather changes in maybe fuel supply or cost of the different energy sources, or even changing environmental constraints, etc. So energy diversification brings energy security. Also, nuclear is a non-intermittent energy source. It's carbon-free, and that allows also to create a little bit more resilience on your grid, because you can basically get the energy when you need it. You're not at the mercy of weather patterns. There are many opportunities for Chinese businesses that are in the nuclear industry to basically expand and make money out of the development of nuclear technologies for both domestic uses as well as for export. I already mentioned there are many countries that are entering the the nuclear community, so to speak, and they will require they will need nuclear technologies that China can provide. And lastly, I would mention the environmental impact is very, very positive beyond even the CO2 emissions. It's an energy source that does not really release anything into the atmosphere. So also in terms of pollutants that are typically associated with the use of fossil fuels, nuclear can basically improve air quality in cities and other environments.
All right, well, we do appreciate your insights. Jacopo Buongiorno, the TEPCO Professor of Nuclear Science and Engineering, and also the Director of the Center for Advanced Nuclear Energy Systems and the Director of Science and Technology at the Nuclear Reactor Laboratory at MIT.